Yo, what's up everybody? It's Manga Mike here, and I am going to be talking about gesture drawing. So if you're somebody that struggles with your characters looking really stiff, this is going to be how you work on that. There's a whole bunch of gesture drawing sites too that are really good, like I think Quick Poses is one of them. I'll put that down in the description below. That's going to really help you a lot because it's a great tool. So let's get started. The first thing is I kind of broke this down into different like time frames, and I also kind of, this line indicates there's a huge gap between this upper time frame and the other time frame and like what you're trying to accomplish in your gesture drawing. So in 30 seconds, what you should probably be trying to accomplish is your line of action, a volume for your head, and then you want to do something about like your torso and pelvis region, but also you want to get in there your limbs and feet. So for instance, I am going to quickly explain what a line of action is. So a lot of people look at the line of action as like the spine or the overall flow. That's fine, like you can do like that. Sorry, let me do that again. This could be your line of action. It probably would come a little bit more. So like an S curve could be your line of action. Some people only like to do like C curves as lines of action. That's fine too. And then even this one right here could be like, some people look at that as a line of action too. It just depends. Your main objective is to show how the body is flowing with your line of action. The biggest line that you can find in the body that makes the most sense for you. That's going to convey the most information. So with that out of the way, I will show you an example of what your gesture drawing could look like in 30 seconds. So if you look over here, I will take this and lasso it and bring it in front so you can see it a little better. This is a drawing that I just actually did today that was a 30-second gesture drawing. I actually broke my own rule. I didn't do a line of action, but to my defense, I have a reason for that. I tend to work better understanding the flow of the body. I'm not the flow, but the volumes of the torso and pelvis region a little bit better, and it typically comes out better than when I just do a line of action. Also, this one, this particular pose, the line of action is a little tricky because I would say it's probably something like that, and that doesn't really convey that much information. Or I guess you could probably say like, I don't know, even, sorry, this is like a line of action, but anyways, that's an example of what a 30-second pose could look like. So let's go to 1 minute. So the things that you want to be looking at a lot in 1 minute is like the chest and pelvis volumes, like I just kind of showed you in the 30-second one that I did. But you also want to be looking at proportions a little bit more. So when you're looking at proportions, I feel like people kind of get this a little bit confused. Your proportions are how things compare to one another on the body. So, for instance, like a proportion could be, you know, you're seeing that this length right here of the rib cage is close to the length of the femur, or yeah, the femur up here, right? That is a proportion that you can think about. Another proportion could be, again, like looking at the rib cage. If you double that size, you get about where the crotch region is, right? That's an important proportion. If you look at the distance from the top of the head to the crotch, this distance doubled is about the distance from head to toe, right? So then that tells you that your legs from the pelvis region down to the ground are about the same size as the top of the head to the crotch. Your upper arm is about the same distance from your shoulder as from your torso as the lower arm is in length as well. All those things are stuff that you want to be concentrating on. Obviously, you don't have time to measure like I just did, but when you're drawing and you're doing it quickly, thinking about those things as you're doing the quick gestures is going to help your proportions when you're doing your own drawings and you have unlimited time in the long run. And here is a 1 minute example. It's not like perfect. I would say that, to be honest with you, I probably could be getting a little bit more out of my 1 minute gesture drawings, but as you can see, I am starting to look at like solidifying the volumes of, in particular, and I actually did a decent job of this. In particular, I'm looking to solidify the volumes that are within here, this region right there. The reason why that's important too is because you want to go from your biggest volumes to your smallest volumes when you're doing gesture drawing. Anything like, for instance, it doesn't help to do a hand and then your feet and then the upper, like the forearm, and then the lower leg, and you have basically like a stick figure that's like got chunky limbs and no like inside, because it's not as much information. So let me actually exemplify that for you really fast. If we have the head, and then we have just a bubble for this torso and a bubble for the pelvis region, and I get rid of the picture, that's a lot of information right there, actually, especially if you do this line for the head too. That's a lot of information. Even just adding this right here gives us even more information. It's telling us that the head's facing this way, the body's facing that way, and the pelvis region's facing this way, right? That's a lot of information just getting those major volumes, right? And I would say that this almost in itself is a decent like gesture practice, right? So that's why I'm saying to focus on the bigger volumes before you go down. Alright, so let's bring that pick back up. So now 2 minute. What should you be trying to accomplish in 2 minutes? Your limb volumes, right? So again, you're going from big volumes to small volumes, and that's the way that you're going to do all of your details and gestures just in general. So I will say before I move on to 5 minutes, there is a really big distinction between doing like probably between like 3 minutes to 30 seconds. That's one like group of gesture drawing, and then 5 minutes and above, you're practicing something a little bit different. 5 minutes and above, you're starting to go more for a nearly finished piece. It's still going to be sketchy, of course, because it's super quick, but it's going to look a little bit more like I guess finished, right? So the things that you want to start to think about in the 5 minute range, after you have your proportions perfectly done, now you can start looking at inner details. The inner details could be like the inner volumes, right? So you have this like volume right here for the stomach. You're seeing that you're getting something like this as a contour line. Specific muscle groups that you can kind of see right in here, the delts, things like that. The reason why understanding those inner details is important is because it's going to help you with your shading, which is going to be coming after like the 5 minute period. And it's also going to help to solidify the insides of your gesture drawing and make it seem a little bit more solid and more complete. And then finally, you probably guessed it, but around 10 minutes, you're fine-tuning your anatomy and you're starting to do like light shading. It doesn't have to be anything crazy, but your shading is going to really help to solidify this piece, and it's going to help it look a little more finished and probably something that's basically nearly portfolio ready. So, all of that to say, these are the things that at least I'm looking at during my gesture drawings of different time frames. Again, I you know, I'm not perfect at this. I'm still learning, so I'm sure, like I said, like in a couple of years, I'll probably look back on this like I'm looking back on my other gesture drawing video that I made a while ago and be like, I had no idea what I was talking about. But hopefully this felt helpful for you. You know, this is something that, you know, you could practice once or twice a week. You don't have to spend too much time. Like, for instance, I do about 12 minutes and I'm able to get like, I don't know, like 15 or so gestures in, and I kind of like change up the time, and I find that to be at least decent enough to help me have character drawings that don't look super stiff. But anyways, again, I hope that that was helpful, and maybe soon I'll do like a demo video as well if that's something that y'all would like to see. But anyways, I'm Manga Mike, and I'm out.